Alrighty guys, so driving through the Sierra Nevada mountains. Awesome. State Highway 50, Eldorado National Forest. The Gold National Forest, basically. Really cool, guys. So we're driving towards Lake Tahoe. So this is Lake Tahoe route. So the Interstate 80, which is to the north, it's connected to Auburn. That will take you, like I said, Donner Party north to Reno. And then this one, the 50, it goes south from Placerville and it takes you to Carson City in Nevada. So we're about halfway through the Sierras. Once we reach Lake Tahoe, we'll be transitioning to Nevada because the border is right at the end of the Sierras. You kind of know you're out of the Sierras once you're in Nevada. The state of California took the whole Sierra range, and then Nevada settled for like the sub-range of the Sierras, the Carson Range. Lake Tahoe, elevation 6,285 feet. We started in San Francisco today, Tiburon at sea level. So we've come up 6,285 feet. Nevada state line, right there. So that's Nevada, guys. You're staring at Nevada. Okay, so California. We're in California. And there we go. Welcome to Nevada, everybody. Virginia City, United States Post Office, Virginia City, Nevada, established 1859, 1864, Story County, Nevada State Firemen's Museum, the oldest saloon in Virginia City, built 1862. Alrighty guys, so here we are, Virginia City. Really cool part of Virginia City history. Mark Twain, Territorial Enterprises, 1858. Mark Twain Museum, the Comstock Lode. Writing for the newspaper in the town, I think, really helped him. Because he was like, he was stirring up feathers like crazy with his writing and, his commentaries on the mines and the companies and just the whole culture of the town. Territorial Enterprise, Nevada's first newspaper and the most celebrated in the Old West, was founded at Genoa, 1858, moved to Virginia City in 1859. Its staff included Mark Twain, Fred Hart, Dan DeQuille, and Wells Drury, and various writers, right? He would have crossed this desert, guys. They made the journey out here on foot. And like Jack London, Mark Twain didn't really have anything to write about until he came here, just in the center of town here. Destroyed by a fire in 1875, Virginia City was quickly rebuilt and became a metropolis of 25,000 people, served by stage lines and the Wells Fargo Bank and Express Company. It was later the terminal of the Virginia and Truckee Railroad, richest short line in the world. The Territorial Enterprise, with the staff of Joseph Goodman, Mark Twain, Roland Daggett, Dan DeQuille, and C.C. Goodwin, became the most celebrated and powerful newspaper in the West. The Comstock Lode, guys, discovered 1859. At the head of the 6 Mile Canyon Washoe Mining District, Virginia City, Nevada. The monument of ore from every Nevada county commemorates the 100th anniversary of the discovery of silver. In June 1859, in Gold Canyon, a second group of prospectors found an outcropping of what would become one of the richest gold and silver deposits ever found. Soon to be known as the richest place on earth, the Washoe Diggings, as it was called, became the town of Virginia City and Gold Hill. With population approaching 28,000 people, and was a major factor for the admission of Nevada as the 36th state of the Union. The Comstock Lode was discovered by Ethan Allen Grosh and Horsey Baluch Grosh, followed by the discovery of silver ore in the lode by Patrick McCallahan and Peter O'Reilly on ground claimed by Henry T.P. Comstock and James Fenimore. Square set timbering, invented by Philip Diedesheimer in 1806, made possible mining large bonanza ore bodies at great depths. Hey guys, so we're just in the Bucket of Blood saloon here. So you can see there's a whole bunch of really cool pictures. Virginia City in the mountains here, Carson Mountains. So these are the men that would have worked down in the mines, guys. It was so hot down in the mines that they worked almost naked. So they worked in shirts like this. You could see their names written on here, but these are the boys, guys. The highest paid miners in North America. The geothermal heat was so intense it would make them have to work almost naked, basically. And that's the view out the bar window. Carson Mountains. Vertical section of the Comstock Lode. The vertical lines indicate mine boundaries. The solid lines, major shafts. Black lines are the stopes or bodies of ore removed. The large stope to the right at the Sutro tunnel level is the Big Bonanza. The graphic illustration of the fact that many of the mines had very little or no ore at all. The Sutro tunnel had value as a drain, but was not too late to collect royalties on significant quantities of ore. Alrighty guys, so the Delta Saloon, 1875. Unlike Canada, guys, because in Canada and a lot of our ghost towns, we never had a lot of the violence that the American ones did, but here there was gunfights, knife fights, like it was rowdy, man. It was the Wild West. It's one of the few places that had a jail nearby too, because of that. Silver Dollar Hotel is also haunted.
That's bandcamp to town. Big iron.
Mark Twain, guys. In the early 1860s, the office of the Territorial Enterprise was located in this building. Mark Twain worked for the newspaper here in 1862 until 1864. And then he got run out of town. Okay, so we're gonna go to the Ponderosa. So the Ponderosa Saloon and Mine, See and Walk in 1864 bank vault. So the historic Nevada Bank. On this site, the Virginia City Agency of Bank of California was established on September 6, 1864. Underground mine tours, guys. Alrighty guys, so we're in the bank vault right now. The Way It Was Museum, underground tours, Ponderosa Saloon. Bank of California tellers, 1890 Virginia City. You can see the gold and the money, guys. And then the boxes. Sorry, this bag's huge, so it's like the boxes. This vault is inside the Ponderosa Saloon. It's now a saloon, but it was initially the Bank of California. The old vault is the original one built by the Bank of California, who opened its doors for business in this building in autumn 1864. During its heyday, millions in gold and silver were stored in this vault. This vault was robbed of $32,000 in broad daylight, October 25th, 1927, by armed bank robbers who were captured shortly after. Much of the loot was never recovered and remains hidden in a cache, so it is said, in the hills around 6 Mile Canyon. Alrighty guys, so here we go. Ponderosa mine tour.
What do you want to know?
Just the general history of the mine, like whatever you feel is important, man. It's
Why
your
is
tour.
it called Virginia City? You guys know why?
Because one of the guys, he spilt a bottle of whiskey on the ground, and he didn't want to waste it, so he like christened it.
Yeah, James Fenimore, who's from Virginia, goes out to California, said that he murdered someone or was involved with a murder. He's got to go out on the run, so he changes his name from James Fenimore to James Finney. Now he's hiding out on top of this mountain. We got mining camps up here. Like, he was more of an avid partier in his later years than a miner. And he would visit that claim daily just to pan enough just so he could drink. So one night, hanging out in tent, drinking a bottle of whiskey. Drops his bottle of whiskey in the grass. Can't waste your whiskey.
Nope.
This is not alcohol abuse. I'm not to do that, y'all. People probably laughing at him.
Yeah.
And he's like, I christened this here, Virginia, after my home state. Changed Virginia town to Virginia City. Why? I couldn't tell you. My theory is the population grows so quick. He sold his share of Gold Hill for a horse, a few blankets, bottle of whiskey. He ended up falling by a horse and breaking his neck.
Ouch.
Don't drink and drive. What about the man himself?
Henry Comstock?
Yeah, what about, do you know him?
Yeah, the two guys, the Grouch brothers, they came onto the river and they were painting, and then he saw them and he's like, oh, this is my land. He's like, you guys are like trespassing on my land. And so he basically like told them that he had to be made a partner.
Yeah, so the gold rush has ended. The minor 49ers became the minor 59ers. 59ers are less known, but they did exist.
Yes, yeah.
They didn't go to one area again, they went all over the place. Here, other parts of Nevada, parts of California.
Oregon too. Oregon,
Utah,
yeah.
British Columbia,
Arizona, yeah.
South Africa,
Yep.
Sweden, just all over. Many died in travels. Now, the two Gross brothers end up here on the way to Salt Lake City, and then being scientists and hard work, develop a great interest in this area. They just stopped to camp off at. They should have been richest brothers on the mountain. But unfortunately, one was mining. Missed his mark, pickaxe in the foot.
Oh, and he died of an infection, right? Yeah.
So his brother's really sad, about to give up. Then he's like, I'm not going to give up. I got this claim out in Sacramento. I want to go out there. I want to hit that up. I want to get some funding. I'm coming back to this mountain. I'm really going to hit it up. I'm still going to be rich. So before leaving for Sacramento, he had his buddy, this illiterate and effeminate Canadian fur trapper / sheep herder. Henry Comstock watches claim in his cabin. So, like, he was born in 1820, fur trapping family in Canada. Grew up to be one miserable man. They call him Pancake for short because what's easier, bacon bread and make pancakes 3 square meals a day. Or round meals, we're talking about pancakes. He's a drifter as well, drifting from, like, Canada here, to America, New Mexico, ends up Virginia City, 1857 without a penny in his pocket. He gets a job herding sheep up here. That's less hands-on than trapping fur. So he becomes buddies with the Gross brothers. The one's like, hey man, we'll go out to Sacramento for some funding. Watch my cabin, watch my claim. Comstock's like, yo, I got you, dog. So the guy takes off for Sacramento, gets lost in a blizzard. They want to cut off his leg due to frostbite. He refuses it, so he died of frostbite. Word finally got back to Henry Comstock. He was like, hell yeah, my cabin, my claim.
Hell yeah.
He got it on all their maps and was like, all of this is my land.
Yeah, that's what he said. He declared, like, this is all my land, basically. So,
check it out. He's in one area and he's like,
what a character, man. Wow.
Like, all this is my land.
I love he's Canadian. He's Canadian, too. He's not even American.
He was like, all this people through my land. So he just started going out all over. There's people just mining all over.
Everywhere, yeah,
so
everywhere.
He would be going out, going up to those groups. It's like, excuse me, gentlemen, no, this is my land.
You gotta give me.
He was like, I know the Gross brothers, and a lot of them, like, they knew the Gross brothers, and they'd be like, oh, nah, dog, get the hell out of here.
Yeah. What are you talking
so,
about?
Like, so he keeps doing that. He gets to, like, 6 Mile Canyon where the Gross brothers stake their claim. They wanted to stake the claim up, like, higher, but they had to settle for that area. And they're like, dug a reservoir. And they run into this frustrating crap that's blue.
The blue mud, the sticky blue mud, right?
They're like,
yeah.
They wash it away and they find speckles of gold. And Comstock comes up and he's like, hey, my northern part of my land, they didn't know any better because it's lying. So they're digging through that crap, washing away, went for speckles of gold, made $100 a day. The whole time the Hispanic were shouting at them, hey, y'all, that blue stuff's silver, stop throwing it away.
Oh, wow.
But there was a language barrier.
Oh, so the Spanish knew that it was,
the Hispanic were here
Yeah, they
first.
knew,
They're like the original gangsters of silver mining, started in 1545.
That's badass, man.
So the mine was built in 1859, abandoned in 1913. Building it came into was built in 1864, is one of the oldest banks in Nevada, is Bank of California. One side of the building was a post office, this side was a bank. A similar bank vault to that one out there, but it's like half the size, sat right here.
Oh.
That bank vault's now my boss's office.
Is this the square set timbering that you hear all about?
Yeah, but it's like modernized.
And it's all held in together by tension, right? Like the tension
my
of
boss
the...
put a lot of nails. He's put a lot of work into this, so he put a lot of nails.
It's impressive that it could even hold itself together without the nails. Like that they're...
You would have to have pressure. This wouldn't be deep enough for a square set. These rocks right here were all once connected. This was a 3-foot stone wall they built to protect the vault of the bank and the bank.
Okay.
There's a mine behind the bank because mine was here first. In 1978, my boss and his buddies, they got drunk and they decided to dig down right here, blast through that wall, dismantle that vault, move that vault, remantle that vault, and connect the mine to the bar. Gregory Heston, he's a descendant of the Comstock miners. He is 5th generation.
That is so cool,
He
man.
ends up with a deed to the mine from his father-in-law, who's also a descendant of the miners, who continues silver mining. And at first they thought they had sons, and they really did. But they didn't, so now we have mine tours. So the mines you guys went into, would you say it had more or less timber inside in this mine right here?
Less, definitely,
Okay, so
much
this
less.
is the first mine I've been in. I've been in caves all growing up, and I was told most mines are like caves. You don't need all this timber.
Yeah.
It's not on the earth. You leave columns of ore to make pillars out of for structure and support. But throughout our planet, not every mountain is the same. That means not every mine is the same. The Comstock ore was weird. Seriously, feel this mountain.
Oh, it's soft.
Really soft.
Yeah, you can use your nail to dig it up.
It feels like clay. That's brittle. That's why all the timber was needed.
Yeah, because it's so unstable.
Yes, so like Mountain was
That is
easy to work with
crazy.
back in the day, but hard to maintain until the square set timbering came along in late 1860. Square set timbering is a system that uses railroad ties as supports for underground mining tunnels and shafts. Use no nails at all, and the railroad ties connect together. Be pre-kind of connect together almost like Lincoln logs. Then forming cubes, they open up three-dimensional cavities. They basically create underground structures of beehives here. The beehive, toughest structure in nature. Why? Because a hexagon is a bestagon.
Nice, man.
Late
Yeah.
1860, Philip Deisenheimer, a German engineer, came over to Virginia City and he solved the big cave-in problem by inventing the square set timbering. He did not patent his idea. He didn't patent his idea because he didn't want to profit from it. All he wanted to do was like make his money back, be fed, housing, and help people out and save lives.
Wow.
They still use it all throughout the world today, and I bet you he wishes he did patent it because I recently read he went bankrupt before he died. It saved infinity number of lives. What's the worst thing that happened to you in a mine?
Cave-in, collapse.
That's a miner's biggest fear. However, miners on the Comstock Lode have one bigger fear than a caveman. Anyone guess what it is? Think about all the timber.
Fire?
Damn straight.
Oh,
What
really?
ended up killing most of the miners in the Comstock Lode were falls. They got this thing called lift blindness. I believe that is the same problem building skyscrapers in cities. Check it out. You got all these different levels. Group of workers on one level finish their shift and just be like, I'm hot, I'm tired, I want to go home and go to bed. They're really excited to go home and they go to get on the lift. But it's dark when it's not there and they don't notice. And, it's
And
like,
they fall down the...
thousands of feet, sometimes those short distances, but it'll fall in like hot water or just landing will suck. Okay, you had your shafts.
Yeah.
That went straight. You had a lift there. Okay, so people would get off, and that would have to be clear. Other way, we going how do you get down?
Climbing down
It's
hand by
kinda
hand.
Like, well, like kind of like that.
Oh, on an angle. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, okay.
yeah.
right,
Okay,
right.
okay.
The mines here were like you're walking through a tunnel like this, and all of a sudden it opens up, and it's just so massive.
Huge
Wow,
slopes,
really?
eh?
I bet you in those areas, like some spots that had stairs. Original timber, 160 years old.
Oh, wow.
Compared to the new timber on top, tell a big difference, can't you?
Yeah.
I installed
Yeah.
that piece.
Nice, man.
Watch your heads, you're gonna get low. We'll open back up, just watch your heads for a little bit. Alright.
There's a lot of timber here. Wow.
Yeah, I gotta think the road's just like right there. We're like veering away from it now.
How did they get all this timber?
Back in the mining, they like chopped down
The Sierras?
forests, yeah.
Yeah, probably the Sierras, eh?
First, along the Truckee River, there was a 7-mile long mill. Virginia City was once a forest, but it was chopped down by the white man.
Yeah, the old growth
They
everywhere,
also
yeah.
dug a flume and floated logs down from Tahoe. You notice it gets better for taller people in this area. Little fun fact, why I'm not only a tour guide and secretary for the boss, I'm also a mucker. And 3 springs ago, we mucked out half of this.
Wow.
Nice,
Mucked
man.
it out from back there, a little after that sump pump underground, all the way to the very back. They had me on wheelbarrow duty because they didn't trust me with jackhammer. I don't blame them. I'm grateful we did that because before we did that, we were all the way up here.
Oh, wow.
We took it down 6 inches.
Thank God.
Wow.
I'm back here 6 days a week. It was hell on my back before.
It's hard work, man. It's like hard work.
Nearly $1 billion of gold and silver taken out of the whole Comstock.
Wow.
This mine produced like only $438. It did not do well. However, those smart mine owners get along with neighbors. You don't compete with neighbors.
No.
You don't sabotage neighbors.
No.
So back in the day, the best in Belgium mine said, this sucks, my mine's losing me money. The Golden Curry, your mines are successful, and you're in cahoots with Consolidated Virginia, which is an extremely successful mine. It's like, yeah, let's work together, neighbor. We'll open this mine up, put in a ventilation shaft. Shine in my
Oh, yeah.
light on here is a ventilation shaft. This shaft did not go up to the surface and once went down 550 feet, helped ventilate 8 other mines. Since then, it's been filled in with backfill. You got an ore bucket, ore car, went sway, keeping people out. So it's behind that ore bucket. Alright, what I'm sitting on is a cast iron ore car and it weighs a half a ton.
Wow.
For the mine to be good, it got pulled by a mule.
By a mule?
And hemp rope. Once a mule was purchased, placed in the mines, and never saw light of day again.
Crazy.
I was told if we take a mule and take them out, take a mule, put them in a mine, and take them out, they won't go back in now. They're stubborn, but they're smart. Take a mule, put them in a mine for 2 or 3 days, or even less probably. Then you take them out, they'll go blind because of the light.
Oh.
Back in ancient Rome, if you're a miner, you're a slave or a prisoner. They would send the slaves and the prisoners in the mines for weeks at a time and actually feed them really good. But since they're down there for so long, when they removed them from the mines, had to blindfold them so their eyes could readjust to the lights. Thinking that hemp rope worked out, but originally replaced the hemp rope with those cables, same cables that implemented the cable cars in San Francisco, but they kept breaking here. They said when those cables broke, that turned into a steel snake that was wreaking havoc on anyone up in the lift room.
Like,
So here in Virginia City, 1873, a guy by the name of Andrew Holiday was like, hey, y'all, let's prevent that. Braid a bunch of the cables together. And he invented the flat wire cable. That's another Virginia City
a
mining
flat wire
invention.
cable. I've never seen that.
And people back in
That's
the day
badass, man.
were hell resourceful. They did whatever had to do. They used whatever they had lying around. Some property owners here in Virginia City took this flat wire cable and wrapped around the top part of their fences. Then I guess they would heat it up and put little nicks in it to pull the strands to make their own bob wire.
Oh, right on, man.
Check it out right there.
Oh, the fluorescent minerals.
Shellac tungsten and fluorite, fluorescent minerals. That they use in the hardened steel and make glycol filament, shotgun shell casing, X-ray streams, dark tips, and something to do with space shuttles. Take the rocks, crush them up, design poster. We got blacklight poster. They also use them.
Oh, that's how. Oh, right on.
They
Yeah,
also
yeah.
use them to make glitter in the atom bomb. I'm leaning on up here, pneumatic drill, ran on compressed air, fully came on scene in the Comstock about 1875. When they first came out, they put miners out to work left and right. It took mining companies a few years to realize they want one to work properly. You need 4 to 5 guys on one of them per shift. When they first came out, they called them widowmakers.
Yeah, the Widowmaker.
Not
Yeah.
because they would occasionally blow up or get caught and handle do a big giant spin out. Has that ever happened to y'all using a hand drill before it gets caught and it torques?
Oh yeah, man.
Sucks.
Yeah,
Imagine a
it
giant
breaks your.
version.
It can break your wrist.
Well, so what would a giant version do? Rip your arm off?
Rip your arm off. Rip your arm out of the socket.
Knock your
Yeah.
head off.
Yeah.
They call them widowmakers because they have no ventilation. You're doing all that drilling. You're breathing all that dust. That mixed with the saliva in the lungs. Creates cement.
Silicosis.
Basically turns the lungs into statues.
Yeah,
I
cement.
guess when they would cough and breathe, they'd go like this.
Oh. Oh man.
And breathe and be like. They've
Sucks,
actually
man.
got water and piping would start soaking down the side of the mountain as they drill into it to cut down all that dust.
Dust.
And the muck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Straight ahead we have the wall. The wall behind the Widowmaker, wall behind Cousin Mickey. That wall straight ahead, if it didn't exist, we would go back another 200 feet as we're doing now, then down 550 feet.
Wow.
When it goes down 550 feet, it does not go vertical. No, it does like this, like a switchback.
Yeah.
Watch your heads when you get low, but it will open back up. Okay, you want to look straight up.
Oh wow.
Watch your head.
Oh yeah, the stairs.
We
Yeah, yeah.
have enough room for you. Come on.
That's what. Yeah, the stairs. Yeah. Yeah.
So that there leads out behind the
cool.
building you came into, along Taylor Street between A Street and B Street, kind of above Courthouse parking lot. That there is our current emergency exit, our current ventilation. When that was the original entrance to the mine, those ladders were not there. The ladders were later added in. We had a lift there originally, and that's what this is. Well, that's the platform part,
okay.
where you guys got your tickets to be cage part. There'd be a freak accident right now. We couldn't get out the way we came in. That's how we're going to get out. 5-story climb.
Wow.
Right now we're 300 feet in the mountain, 50 feet under the surface. That 5-story climb a lot harder than it looks.
No kidding, eh?
If you work here, you're supposed to climb it once. I climbed it 8 times, so that
Jeez.
climb sucks. All right, it's the
They call these in Canada. We call them sticking Johnnies. You call them sticking Tommies.
What do you call these guys?
what?
These that
The candle lights.
we call them sticking Johnnies in Canada.
In Canada, they refer to them as sticking Johnnies, but I've seen them be referred to in America as sticking Tommies. What is it called here?
I just heard a light. They had this spike right here.
Shove it
And you
into
take it off and take off your.
helmet.
helmet. Yeah.
Well, the hard hat. They didn't have hard hats. They would take regular hats and boil them in salt water. If they had the money, take a leather hat and boil it in regular water, and they harden and form it. So this thing right here, they got a hook right here, hooks onto their hats, get to where they want to be, take it off, stick it inside the mountain of that spike. I recently learned why this end is round. Because let's say it's in the side of the mountain, You're doing your thing, something happens, and you lose your hat, but you still got your lights, and you need to get out. So you're going to take this, and that's where. Put it in your mouth. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, you don't want to put the pointy part in there.
And that's why they would have a beard.
Oh,
So
wow.
they protect from the wax. A lot of times the miners flame be smelling that due to lack of oxygen. Sometimes you got to build up with methane gas and go.
Wow. That'd be so intense, man, working by candlelight for hours and hours on it, days and days. You imagine this is all you can see?
It's the late 1860s, not the early 1870s. That's when the pneumatic drill was invented. I said late 1860s. This showman right here and myself were the two miners. This is our light. Tools for mining will go like this. I'd be a nice guy about the tools, even though I'm supplying them. I should get the first choice.
Oh, the hammer or the jack.
So
yeah.
man, you'll be getting your very own 8-pound sledgehammer.
Oh, good.
That leads me on to steel. Okay. I'd be holding it like this.
Oh, wow.
And we work for a company. We got
Wow.
enough employees. There'd be another dude standing on the other side of me, 8-pound sledgehammer. You guys would take turns hitting the steel I'm holding between the hits. Got to rotate a 1/4 inch, so it won't get stuck.
Wow.
Cha, 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 cha. Actually miss. Hit me with the hammer. It's cool. We'll eventually switch off and I will get revenge. They were also pretty drunk. Fresh water was scarce at the time. Whiskey was 25 cents a bottle. Catch 22. Alcohol dehydrates you.
Yep.
10-hour shift. They advanced 3 feet with that hammer and steel. Wow. We got the hammers, the steel, the light, the whiskey, of course. We also need the original carbon monoxide detector, and that's where pasta comes into play. Over in Cornwall, England, that's where a lot of these underground miners immigrated from. So they're Cornish, Scottish, and Welsh. They have tin mines, coal mines, copper mines over there. They be working their mines. They have a male canary in a cage. A male canary is like us human males. We never shut up to attract the females. So a male canary is constantly chirping and singing, using up air trying to attract its mate. So they're working. Notice the bird not chirping. Something wrong with the air. Got to get out.
Canary in a coal mine.
We don't have canaries in Virginia City. So a lot of canaries come from immigrant miners. Some people make great money breeding them. Here they went by a Comstock canary.
You're breeding canaries, eh? Yeah, that would be pretty lucrative.
The Comstock canary was a mule. You're working, those your mule acting strange, making weird noises, something wrong with the air. They would also give crumbs with their lunch to the rats.
Oh, wow.
Rats would get used to them. Rats would hang out. You're going to use rats as indicators for dangers. Till these rats running in one direction. It's like the scene from Titanic from 28 Days Later. Follow the rats.
Follow the rats.
They said if a miner actually saw a civilian hurting a rat or killing a rat, then that means that civilian be fighting the miner. Mining 500 feet where it's really hot, they're on their own. A canary can't survive in the heat. Rats and mule not going down that deep. So they'll be in teams, be switching off every half hour. Now because they get overheated, but tools are made out of iron and steel, they get too hot to handle, too slip or hold from sweat.
Wow.
Wonder how many times the team finish up their break. They go down and break up the other guys, they get there to find them dead. In between years 1853 and 1880, 295 mining deaths have been reported. I feel the number sounds low, so I asked around. I was told that the key word is reported. True number of miners on the Comstock is unknown. Now you got him and I here. We're underground hammering, chiseling away, but as we're working, all of a sudden it'd just be like, crap, dude, time to crawl out.
No
Fresh
kidding,
poisonous gases in the air, best get down low. And I'd mostly rather crawl into something, walk face first into it.
Yeah.
From there, find your trammer rail, and hopefully you aren't disoriented, because it could end up leading you the wrong way. You gotta know your mind. Easier said than done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Know
exactly.
your mind one's like this.
Yeah.
You know, you put your hand in front of your face and wave it, you can't see
You can't
it,
even
check it
know.
out.
You can't even see it. No.
Eb and I working by the candle and he goes out. This showman here, he's an Irish immigrant seeking employment. And I know since he's Irish, he has little to no mining experience. What I do know is he a damn hard worker. So I'd be like, hey man, why don't you come out to Virginia City and work in these mines? We got a union going on and it's pretty cool. You know, the average miner gets paid 80 cents a day. Yeah, well guess what? Minimum wage in Virginia City for underground miners freaking $4 a day. $4 a day of real money, no company store coin crap.
Wow.
That's one of the world's highest known salaries. You'll get rich in Virginia City.
Wow.
Plus, we got a lot of cheap whiskey, we got girls, we got good gambling, you're going to have fun.
Yep.
Here, you're going to get rich and you're going to have fun. Plenty of way to spend that money. Now, you a miner, life expectancy no more than 42. During the winter, you got to watch out for ammonia, silicosis, miner's lung. That'll get you. Carbon dioxide falls, Kalins, VD as well. Now, let's say you're lucky you managed to survive everything. Alcoholism, cirrhosis of the liver got you in the end. The average miner drank 2 pints of whiskey a day.
Wow.
One saying Mark Twain had was, And Virginia City, whiskey be for drinking and water be for fighting. And Virginia City doesn't have a town drunk, has a drunk town.
And the Lode, the mines go all the way along the city, right? Like along the whole city street.
Into the mountain, it goes into the mountain. Not necessarily under the street.
That's so cool, man. Alrighty guys, so the Silver Queen Hotel, this is one of the haunted ones. The really cool thing is they have a big picture here, a painting of a queen dressed in silver dollars. Something. You can see, look, it says Ghost Hunter's Delight. 1862 Silver Queen Hotel. That's a century ago, the mountainside under your feet contained the largest single deposit of silver ore ever discovered in the US. The Comstock Lode. Much of this ore was coined into silver dollars at Carson City Mint and other US mints. Much of the silver in the $3,261 came from local mines. The Queen is an unusual casino display, 16 feet tall and containing 210 pounds of silver, a tribute to the flamboyant heyday of Nevada's most famous mining town. The Great Fire of 1875 destroyed over 300 businesses. By the next 3 years, it had been built up larger than before. With the population of about 30,000 people, there were over 90 mines in operation. There were 4 daily newspapers, 2 weekly. One was in Gold Hill. Of these, the Territorial Enterprise was the most influential paper in Nevada. Virginia City had one of the West's finest water systems. It siphoned 30 miles across Washoe Valley. They had 6 schools, 7 churches, 2 cemeteries, 4 banks, 100 saloons, 20 hotels, and about 45 lodges, and numerous grocery and clothing stores. Piper's Opera House, still standing, had some of the finest entertainment in the world. Seats were as high as $100. The V&T was once the most profitable railroad in the world. The wedding chapel. So they do weddings in here because it's Nevada, guys. You can get married in here. You can come and get married in here. Have your wedding in the Silver Queen. Okay, guys, we're going to go to the Delta Saloon. 1876. Okay, guys, so we're just in the Delta Saloon here. So this is it, guys. Originally a faro bank table brought to Virginia City in the early 1860s. The owner lost $70,000 in one evening. Okay, the second owner, whose name is lost in history, ran the table for one night's play. He was unable to pay off his losses. The table was then stored for some years because no one would deal on it. It was finally converted into a 21 table sometime in the late 90s, and its black reputation seemed to have been forgotten until one stormy night. A miner who had been cleaned out in some other gambling house stumbled in half drunk. As the story goes, he gambled a gold ring against a $5 gold piece and won. He played all night long, and by the morning had won over $86,000 in cash, everything the owner had on the table in the world. Many famous men have gambled for high stakes, leaning on the green cloth, watching for the turn of the card. Fortunes have been won and lost on it. In 1869, 4 Irishmen with little formal education were brought together when John Mackay and James Fair, Virginia City miners, shrewdly purchased controlling interest in the following Hale and Narcross mine for $16,600. James Flood and William O'Brien, San Francisco saloon keepers turned stockbrokers, were elected as directors, and the die was cast for the Big Four. Fair, appointed superintendent, increased production of the mine tenfold, and within 2 years, as production increased, the firm bought numerous mills for the processing of their ore. Exhausting their ore body, by 1871, they looked for other ventures. The barren, consolidated Virginia mine lay between 2 rich producers, the Gould and Curry and the Ophir. Gamblers that they were, they proceeded to obtain possession of this property, and in January of 1872 purchased it for approximately $50,000. Fair immediately sank a shaft, and within 14 months grew the fabulous Big Bonanza. 1,167 feet below the surface, their fortunes were made from this ore body, which produced in excess of $135 million, which today would be a figure in excess of $2 billion. Unknown before their arrival on the Comstock, these 4 men had now attained wealth, power, and influence rivaling the kings of Europe, and were themselves given the title of the Silver Kings. With their fortunes made, O'Brien left for San Francisco and spent most of his time playing cards in a saloon on Kearny Street. Flood built opulent mansions in and around San Francisco. Fair became a U.S. Senator from Nevada. Mackay laid in the first transatlantic and Pacific telegraph cable and established a transcontinental telegraph company to rival Western Union. John Mackay, the most capable and respected of the 4, remains revered and remembered for his great generosity to the Mackay School of Mines at the University of Nevada, which was named in his honor. That's William O'Brien. 1826 to 1878. James G. Fair, 1831 to 1894. John W. McKay, 1831 to 1902. And James C. Flood, the Silver Kings guys. Okay, guys, we're at the Way It Was Museum. So they got old wagons. You can see they're dumping the ore, that blue Comstock, silver, gold ore. And initially they thought it was gold, but it ended up being silver was what they were mining here predominantly. And they used it to mint coins, guys. So America could become rich, right? Become a rich country, and because this is how America acquired a lot of its wealth, and it was part of the reason why Virginia City became a part of America, because the Americans realized, like, oh wow, there's a lot of money here, we should probably make this part of our country, right? And so they did. Water-driven wheels, we've covered a lot about that, guys, right? Sluice, there's a miner, stamp mills, small two-stamp mill, we saw that in the California Gold Rush. Two-horse sled for hauling, because everything was done by horse, because we didn't have cars yet. Virginia City, Nevada, since 1859. And like I said, guys, Dawson City was late 1800s. This was 1850s. So it's much older than Dawson City, guys. But they're very similar. They remind me of, like, this could be Dawson if it was in Canada. Just all lots of cool old artifacts, guys. Dump wagon wheel. Flywheel, ooh, nice. Stamp mills. The flywheel is what's transferring the power. That's what's giving it all the motion. 5-stamp battery. We covered this in California, guys. California Gold Rush. Stamp mills. It just crushes ore. Timber splitter. More wagons. Mine head frame. So that's the ore skip. So that's how they would have carried the ore up. And then there's the rock dump and dump car. This is all pretty self-explanatory for the most part. This is the pumping beam, one of the earliest Cornish pumps installed on the Comstock. Note the massive timber used for the beam. The box on the end of the beam, full of scrap iron, was to act as a counterbalance for the pump rod. This is the last of its kind in the area. And then commonly called a gallows, note the resemblance, consists of the wheel, timbers, and braces necessary to support the weight of the cable, cage, and miners or loaded ore cart being hoisted to the surface. The enormous weight of piggyback triple cages plus the heavy cable necessary to reach the bottom of the deeper mines ruled out the smaller frames, such as this one, that led to the development of great concrete and stone headframes. And that's the pump. That's the arm that actually transfers the power to the pump. So this hoist here, right, you have the hoist operator, you have the shiv at the top of the head frame, it's kind of like a crane, and then you've got the ore bucket here that moves it down, right? And it transports anything, guys, mining supplies or miners, whatever goes down the mine goes down through the shaft and the head frame. And then that's the view of beautiful Carson Mountains. So the Carson Mountains are a sub-range of the Sierras. They're not directly, we're not in the Sierras anymore, guys. We've left the Sierras. Timber wagon. Squirsa timbers. Wind suction vane. So when the wind is hitting a building from one side, it's creating a bending force on the building. And then on the other side of that, there's a reciprocating suction force. So one side of the building has a bending force and the other side has a suction force. That's what this is doing. That's actually really, really cool. So the large opening turned away from the wind, resulting in suction, because if it was facing directly in the wind, it wouldn't produce a pushing effect, whereas they wanted the opposite with sucking, so it's reciprocal on the other end. Of the California 49er days, gold and silver bearing quartz would be placed in the flat rocks, and a large round boulder would be tied to the center timber to be pulled by the horses, oxen, or mules, traveling in a circle with the boulder crushing and pulverized into quartz. It's a stamp mill using an ox. And then the jaw crusher, so called for its jaw-like action used to crush ore. Cage. This is one of the ones that would have been lowered. Unbelievably huge veins of ore and soft, unstable texture of the Comstock lode, and the tremendous pressures encountered couldn't be handled by mining techniques then in use. Mining was hampered and sometimes completely halted by underground movements, cave-ins, and swelling clay, which snapped and crushed great timbers like matchsticks, terrorizing, injuring, and sometimes killing miners. The invention of square sets finally allowed much safer deep mining of the Lode. The earliest pipes in use in Virginia City were made of wood and wrapped wire. The many more sections, while not in use, still remain under the city's streets. Alrighty, so here we go. Assay furnace. Assaying the ore. Assaying, they're seeing how good the quality of the ore is. Amalgam using mercury. In the washoe pan process of milling, which was used on the Comstock in the early days, ore was first crushed in a stamp battery. After the ore was sufficiently crushed, it was then ground with quicksilver or mercury, as it is more commonly known, in a grinding pan. The quicksilver trapped the gold and silver, forming an amalgam. The amalgam was then placed in retorts, which then were brought to a very high heat, driving off the mercury in the form of vapor and leaving a sponge of pure gold and silver. This was then melted into a bar of bullion. The mercury vapor was condensed in the outlet pipe and recovered for further use. Mad as a hatter, is what they used to say, because it make you go crazy breathing the fumes of it. Guys lost their marbles. Overhead timbering car used in the Sutro Tunnel. Amador, Nevada Wagon Road Company. Thomas Edison's cap lamp using a wet cell battery was a tremendous help to the miners. Rope braider. On October 13th, 1864, President Abraham Lincoln signed the proclamation which made Nevada the 36th state. The Comstock celebrated the great event in grandeur with these 36 star flags displayed everywhere. 1875, Yellow Jacket mine in the foreground. The Yellow Jacket is where that horrible mining disaster happened. Killed 35 people, potentially even more. Some guys were never found. And they say that it's still burning. The embers still smoldering. Virginia Truckee Railroad, crossing the Truckee River at Steam Drill and Rolling Mount. That's really cool. Timber and supply car. Haul supplies needed to repair and maintain the Sutro Tunnel. This is the stuff they were pulling out of the Comstock. Ward Shaft, Story County, Nevada. The Burley drill, the first effective machine drill replacing hand drilling, double and single jack. The bits. Drifting is sideways, stoping is upwards, and then sinking is down, obviously, right? And the drill bits. Powered car. The Great Pacific and Atlantic Gold and Silver Mining and Exploration Company, shaft number 1. Stamp mill, we've seen these. We saw this in the California Gold Rush. The stamp mill, it crushes ore. It crushes the ore samples. Little rocker box, a long tom, washing gravel from the stream beds. Here's the riffles. And you grab this handle and rock it back and forth. You put your material in this mesh screen, and the mesh screen will sift through it. This model represents about 250 miles of underground workings out of the estimated 800-mile total for the Comstock Lode. You can see the Comstock Lode. But look at the underground workings. This is an exact scale model of the northern end of the famous Comstock Lode, the portion lying directly beneath Virginia City. This model shows all the principal mine shafts, crosscuts, drifts, winzes, and inclines. The slanting rear wall of the model represents the plane of the Lode wall, which dips east at about 45 degrees. These stages are the early upper workings, the intermediate shafts, and later deeper shafts. The firm of McKay, Fair, Flood, O'Brien took over control in 1871 and decided to gamble on finding a deep ore body. After several attempts and false starts, they finally ran adrift into the Con, Virginia from the 1,167-foot level of the Gould and Curry shaft and struck the very top of the Big Bonanza. The Big Bonanza was the greatest body of precious metals ever found. Starting near the 1,200-foot level, it extended down to the 1,850-foot level and was 1,100 feet long, and in places was nearly 200 feet wide. 1.5 million tons of ore were removed, yielding $110 million after milling. You can see all the workings though, guys. Everywhere. Lode ore. Various specimens. Pharmaceuticals, old and new. All the mining company certificates. Comstock mining. So this is the square set timbering, guys. The ore bodies were so big that the stopes ended up being huge. In order to, keep it from collapsing, they had to come up with a whole new way of reinforcing the tunnels and the stopes, right? And wherever they're digging. So square set timbering, how it works, right? They just keep chiseling through the ore body and then they just put timbers up as needed. But it ended up working really well. Like, look, here's the shaft. And then here's the drift. And then the stope. Vertical section of the Comstock Lode from Gold Hill to Virginia City, showing huge ore bodies, mines, and hundreds and millions yielded. This large rock is very rich in silver and gold. The blue-gray color is characteristic of the Comstock ore. This specimen was found near Devil's Gate below Gold Hill. It was probably mined from the lower levels, near the center of the lode. That's Henry Comstock. And then here's Twain, Mark Twain. Samuel Longhorn Clemens, 27 years of age in 1862, walked the 90 miles from Aurora to Virginia City to begin his literary apprentice on the staff of the Territorial Enterprise. Starting at the bottom as a district man, then local reporter on the city staff, moved up to write occasional features, then recognized by liner, and finally editor. His early writings were identified with the signet Josh, but in February 1863 he signed a dispatch with the name that was destined for immortality, Mark Twain. Mark Twain left the Comstock in 1864 when Territorial Governor Nye issued a warrant for his arrest for challenging a reporter on a rival paper to a duel. From that hasty stage departure, he went on to become America's foremost novelist. Alrighty guys, so here we are, the desert in Nevada. We made it. The mountain there, Mount Davidson, where all the ore was found. And then in the hills, guys, look at the hills out in the desert. We'll be heading out in the desert tomorrow. Winnemucca, McDermott, and then back into Oregon. Really, really cool, guys. Sunset in Virginia City. We're gonna do the Washoe Club, the Millionaires Club as it was known. So, this is the Washoe Club. So this is the members only area. I went and got a membership. It's how often you get to belong to the Washoe Club. That's pretty cool. So it's just the kind of the hangout area. Pretty cool, huh? This historic club was formed in the mid-1870s by elite gentlemen of the Comstock. It was an exclusive social club which allowed them recognition of their status. It was also a way of avoiding the rowdier citizens. It was formed in the heyday of the mining activity here. Termed the Silver 70s and rivaled exclusive men's clubs in New York, Boston, and San Francisco, the prominent members and guests included General Sheridan, former President Grant, inventor Thomas A. Edison, General Sherman, author Mark Twain, and many more. The spiral staircase was featured in Ripley's Believe It or Not as being the longest of its kind without a supporting pole. It was custom designed and built for the Millionaires Club of the Washoe of the period known as the Silver 70s. So this is the museum. The crypt. This was Virginia City's overflow morgue. It used to store bodies and many who died during the winter when the ground was too frozen to dig the graves. The crypt was a temporary resting place until the ground thawed. In the spring, the bodies could be officially buried in the cemetery. No mortals beyond this point. Original coffin, 1862. I'm gonna just see what it's like in there. This is where they stored all the dead bodies. Dark in here, you can't see anything. Wow, that's really ominous. It's a really ominous vibe in there. But it's full of dead people, so that would... Yeah. This was the social elite, guys. This was where they hung out. Lots of prostitutes here, lots of crazy stuff happened here. A prostitute was actually murdered on the third floor. I think she haunts one of the rooms on the third floor, and then one of the guy that killed her as well also haunts the establishment. The first floor isn't too bad. It's the second and third. The third floor is brutal, apparently. The second floor is a little haunted, but not as bad. So what do we got here? Nevada Bank of San Francisco. Established 1862. That's the visitor center too, guys, if you need any information. Tells you what's open. Buzzard Creek, movie posters, nostalgia. 1864 Story County Fire Museum, Fire Hall, fighting fires there. Gunfights. Virginia City Outlaws. Alrighty guys, so Virginia City. It's about 7 in the evening right now. We're just walking the town, enjoying the lights and the ambiance and the vibes. It's an incredible place, guys. Incredible history. Everybody here is so nice. The people here are amazing. They're some of the coolest people you'll meet, honestly. And like I said, guys, these ridiculous YouTube videos of like the town closes down, it has nothing to do with the fact that it's haunted or any of this nonsense that you hear. Like, it is haunted and there is stuff here. Like, you'll feel it. But people here leave in the nighttime because it's a quiet town and they want to go home and have a nice time. But I've seen a few guys on YouTube mention this, and it's clickbait, guys. There's nothing wrong with this town. You could come here at night. It's not scary. This is the Washoe Club. I don't see any lights on in the top, but that third floor is the most haunted. The second floor is pretty haunted, and then the first floor is supposed to be like fairly civilized, generally speaking. Tahoe House Hotel. And yeah, guys, I really hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon to get notified. And Sasquatch Prospector out.